This Torah class is brought to you by TorahAnytime.com.
Okay, good evening, everyone. So this is our first year after Purim, and Mirz Hashem probably soon we'll begin speaking about Yom Tov. But tonight we're going to speak about Parshas Sisa. Very interesting topic, maybe something we never gave too much thought. The pasuk says in this week's Parsha, Vayara Aaron, and Aaron saw. It doesn't say what he saw. Vayiven Mizbeach Lefanav, and he built the Mizbeach. In other words, he started participating and contributing toward making the Egel. Vayikra Aaron Vayomer, and Aaron called out and he said, Chag LaShem Machar, tomorrow will be a holiday for God. Interesting, everybody asks, what do you mean a holiday? Tomorrow they're going to make the Egel. Yud Zayin Tam is not a holiday. It's not a Yom Tov. The Chidah says that the Navi tells us, Soim Haravi, Shivasa B'Tam Ziyeh LeBeis Yehuda L'Sasein L'Simcha L'Asa it's going to be a Yom Tov. That was Aaron's Kavana. Machar. Chag LaShem Machar. Okay. The question is, the pasuk doesn't say, what did Aaron see that because of that, Vayiven is a lesson of Havana, that he understood what needs to be done. What did he see that he decided to make this Mizbeach and participate in the Egel? So the Gemara says in Sanhedrin Daf Zayin that Rabbi Tanchon Bar Chaniloi says that this pasuk refers to the Maisa Egel. That when Klal Yisrael began making the Egel, so Chur, the son of Miriam, began to protest, and what did the Jews do? They killed him. You know, it's a tough job being a rabbi. They killed Chur. So Aaron says to himself, if I interfere, they may kill me. Now, so what? So it's Yeharg V'al Yavar. It's not like there's a choice over here. If somebody makes Avodah Zarah, you have to give up your life not to participate in making Avodah Zarah. But Aaron then invokes the following pasuk. There's a pasuk in Eicha, in Parak Beis pasuk Chaf. Im Yehareg b'mikdash Hashem kohen v'navi. If it would ever be killed, murdered in the sanctuary, a priest, a kohen, v'navi, and a prophet, that's like the tipping point. That's the point of no return. We cannot recover from that. If the Jewish people would ever kill a navi and a kohen on the same time, that's something we can never do tshuva from. So, the Gemara says that Aaron made a cheshbon. They just killed Chur. Chur is the navi. If they kill me, I'm a kohen. They have just killed a kohen and a navi. So they'll never be able to do tshuva. Better that I make the Egel. It's Yehareg V'al Yavar. Aaron did something. Don't try this at home. It's called Avera Lishma. And he said, if they make the Egel, they could do tshuva. If they kill me, they can't do tshuva. So let's weigh the two. Why have them do an Avera that's irreparable? Better than make Avodah Zarah that at least they could do tshuva from. So what Aaron is basically saying is, and he's trying to avoid that if he is murdered, they have just killed a Navi and a Kohen, the Navi being Chur and the Kohen being Aaron himself.
What about Gedalia?
What about, you mean Zechariah? Gedalia, was he a Kohen?
Wasn't he a Kohen?
I don't know. I never saw him get an Aliyah. And was he a Navi? Was he one of the Shivim Nevi'im? I don't know. There have been Nevi'im killed in the Navi Zechariah was killed in the Mikdash. He was, I believe, a Kohen and a Navi. Thing is, he was all in one. But Aaron and Kohen knew if they would kill two different individuals, it would be the point of no return. So I heard a very good question from Rav Yisrael Reisman Shlita, Gavaldiga Kasha. What in the world is Aaron talking about? They're going to kill a Kohen and a Navi? They didn't make the Egel yet. Before the Egel, there's no such thing as a Kohen. The institution of Kahuna is a repercussion of the Cheder Egel. Like the Mishnah says in Zvachim, look at number 4. Ad Shalihu Kama Mishkan, before the Mishkan was erected, Hayu Habamois Mutarais, you're allowed to sacrifice on a private altar, Va'avoida Bechoros, and the Avoida was done by the firstborn. Umishahu Kama Mishkan. Once the Mishkan was put up, Nesru Habamois. The Bamis were also Avoida B'Kohanim, and then the Kohanim stepped up. The institution of Kahuna seemingly was a result of the Cheder Egel, meaning what the Mishnah seems to say is that before the Cheder Egel, the Bechoros did the Avodah, and after the Cheder Egel, the Kohanim did the Avodah, but there was no concept of Kahuna before the Cheder Egel. So what's Aaron and Kohen worried? They're going to kill him? No problem. This is prior to the Cheder Egel, this is before the Cheder Egel, so if they kill him, they're not killing a Kohen. There's no such thing as a Kohen yet. There's kahuna before the Cheder Egel. Kahuna is only because the Bechorim lost their job. But at this point in time, the Bechorim still had their job. So they had their job. They're not killing a Kohen. So let's talk about this idea. Very interesting concept. We hear about it, but do we ever really think about what this means? That before the Cheder Egel, the avodah was done by the Bechoros. After all, we know that, we'll see the Archaim HaKadosh says one of the reasons why Yaakov wanted to buy the Bechor from Esav is because he wanted the avodah. So we see, historically, the avodah was done by the Bechoros. What does this mean that the avodah was done by the Bechoros? Rashi in 2 places in Chumash mentions, in Sefer Bamidbar, we have this concept that the Bechorim are being exchanged for the Levium. That God says, I own the Bechorim, and I no longer want the Bechoros to do the Avodah, so therefore I'm exchanging them for the Levium. We have an exchange. They're 22,000 Levium, 22,000 Bechoros. They're actually, extra. So, what do we do with the extra Bechoros? So they had to be paid themselves on money. But the pasuk says, Va'ani, look at number 5, Hine lakachti es haLeviim mitoch b'nei Yisrael. Behold, I took the Levium from among the Bnei Yisrael, Tachas Kol Bechar, in place of every Bechar, Peta Rechem Bnei Yisrael, B'hayu Li HaLevium. So God is saying, I'm taking the Levium in place of the Bechar, and the Levium will be mine. Says Rashi, how will the Levium be mine? Look at number 6, second line. I am Zoicha to the Levium through the Bechoros. Ulakachtim tmurasam, and I'm taking the Levium in exchange for the Bechoros. It used to be before the Cheder Egel, the Bechoros did the Egel. And when they sinned with the Egel, the Bechoros were disqualified. And why did the Levium take the job? V'haLeviim shalei avdu avodah zara nivcharu tachteim. And the Levium who didn't worship avodah zara, they were selected in place of the Bechoros. But Rashi is saying clearly, before the Cheder Egel, the Bechoros did the avodah. L'chara, that means they're not the Kohanim. It's not the Kohanim. What's Aaron worried about? They're going to kill him. He's not a Kohen. There's no such thing as Kohanim. Is there? Rashi Mahaloischa. Rashi says, Kili kol bechar B'vnei Yisrael, ba'adam u'va'behema. I owned every Bechar belonged to me. B'yayim ha'koisi chol Bechar b'eretz Mitzrayim, on the day that I smote every firstborn in Mitzrayim, hikdashti oisam li. So the Bechorim I owned, Rashi says, the Bechoros were mine b'kavadin, because I protected them in Mitzrayim, and I took them until they sinned with the Egel, and now instead I'm taking the Levium. So that's, Rabbi said, question number 1 is, what is Aaron worried about that they're going to kill him, and thereby kill a Navi and a Kohen? What Kohen? There's no institution of Kahuna. Let's talk about a very important subject, a fundamental subject in Chumash. If you read the Parshas, you have Truma. Truma is the command to build a Mishkan, v'asuli mikdash v'shachanti b'seicha. Parshas Tetzaveh is a command to make Big Day Kahuna. Ki Sisa is the Cheder Egel. Vayakel, they constructed the Mishkan. They constructed the Mishkan. If you read the Parshas, Kipshutam, in order, in chronological order, Tetzaveh came before Ki Sisa. That means Hashem said, make Big Day Kahuna for Aaron before the Cheder Egel. Why in the world are you making Big Day Kahuna for Aaron before the Cheder Egel? Well, he's not a Kohen. There's no such thing as Kahuna. The institution of Kahuna was created after Ki Sisa. What does it mean? Make Big Day Kodesh to Aaron achicha l'chavod el sefares. What does Aaron need Big Day Kahuna for? He's not a Kohen. The institution had not been created yet. So Rashi says, right? Rashi's principle is, Ravasi is saying, Ein muktam mulcha b'Torah. There's no chronology in the Torah. Rashi says, Masei Egel koydem l'tzivim lechas hamishkan yavim rabim haya. The Egel, which took place on Yud Zayin Tammuz, preceded the command to make the Mikdash, the Mishkan, many days. Because we know they made the Egel and the luchos were broken Yud Zayin Tammuz. And we know God reconciled with the Jewish people when? On the following Yom Kippur. And Rashi's opinion is, that is what now, when did the Jews start donating to the Mishkan? The day after Yom Kippur. So Rashi says, presumably then, the command to make the Mishkan took place on Yom Kippur, or the day after Yom Kippur. That being the case, the Chet Egel really preceded the command to make the Mishkan. So even though it's written, Truma, Tetzaveh, Kisisa, Vayakel, Pekudei, the correct order is, Kisisa, Truma, Tetzaveh, Vayakel, Pekudei. It doesn't say it like that. Don't be such a stickler for the way it's written. Ein mukdam amucha b'Torah. That's the sheet of Rashi. Rashi doesn't tell us why he's saying this. Rashi doesn't say what's forcing him to say that it's out of order. Is it because of what we're asking? That if it would be in order, why would Moshe be commanded to make Big Day Kahuna before Chet Egel, before there's a concept of Kahuna? Rashi just says, Ein mukdam amucha b'Torah. There's no chronology in the Torah. By the way, there's a parenthesis after Rashi, where one of the Parshas asks, Mehechi Teisi, it's out of order. Maybe first came Truma, and then came Tetzaveh, and Moshe got the command to build the Mishkan as soon as he went up to Har Sinai on Vav Sivan on Shavuos. And by the time he came down and had a chance to tell the people about it, they already made the Egel. And he didn't get an opportunity to tell them to make the Mishkan until after the Chet Egel. But maybe really, he was already commanded to make the Mishkan before the Chet Egel, as the Parshas indicate. Truma, Tetzaveh, Kisisa, Vayakel, Pekudei. I mean, I know there's a concept, Ein mukdam amucha b'Torah, but that's if you need to say that. But why do we need to say that? This Mefarish is asking. In other words, how does Rashi know that these Parshas are written out of order? Maybe they're in order, maybe Truma Tetzaveh, that he got the command to make the Mishkan as soon as he came up to receive the Torah. Then was the Chet Egel. He hadn't yet gotten around to tell the Jewish people about it. And then he told them about it. But maybe the Parshas are in order. In fact, the Zohar says just like that. The Zohar HaKadosh says the Parshas are absolutely written in order. The Zohar just says, makes a very interesting point. The Zohar says that in Parshas Truma, the pasuk says, Me'ez kol ish asher yidvenu libai. Who should you take donations from? Anybody. And that's usually the policies of yeshivas today. They don't have such, they don't do a background check when they do the background check if you want to get into the yeshiva. But for the check to enter the account, they don't do background checks. The rule is, la'olam tikach, right? You take it. That was the original rule with the Mishkan. Me'ez kol ish asher yidvenu libai. Who does that include? Who's kol ish? The Zohar says kol ish includes the Erev Rav. But then the Rebbeinu Shalom saw who made the Egel. The Erev Rav was responsible for making the Egel. So the next time around, when the Rebbeinu Shalom went to decide to make the Mishkan again, this time around it's Vayakal Moshe Kol Adas B'nei Yisrael. This time they didn't take donations from the Erev Rav. As painful as it was to reject the donation, this time around they did not accept from the Erev Rav. But the Zohar says the Parshas are in order. Teruma, Tetzaveh, Kisisa, Vayakel, Pekudei. So the question is, what's forcing Rashi to say it's out of order? Rashi says the command to build a Mishkan took place well after the Chet Egel, and Kisisa precedes Truma Tetzaveh. What's forcing Rashi to say like this? It's very important. Says the Sifsei Chachamim, Rashi feels he has to say the Parshas are out of order. Why do we have to say the Parshas are out of order? Says the Sifsei Chachamim, because if the Rebbeinu Shalom told Moshe Rabbeinu to make the Mishkan on Vav Sivan when he got the Torah, and then Moshe took the Luchos and he broke the Luchos. Meaning, what does that mean? That means all bets are off. God says, I'm not with you anymore, I don't like you anymore, I'm not your God, I'm going to send a Malach, and you deal with the Malach. So God said, he's not married to us anymore, Kaviyachal. So what happened? If the command to build the Mishkan already took place, and after the command to build the Mishkan was the Chet Egel, and after the Chet Egel we know God reconciled with us. He gave us another Luchos. Says the Sifsei Chachamim, Mehechi Teisi, God still wants us to make a Mishkan. Maybe God is only reconciling with us, that He says, you know what? I'll give you the Torah again. After all, I converted you at Har Sinai, so you're Jews, so Yisrael Afal Pi Shachata Yisrael Hu. So I understand that, I have to give you a Torah. But once we broke the luchos, all bets were off, and I'm only deciding to give you another luchos. But mehechi teisei, I want you to build the Mishkan again. In other words, if the command to build the Mishkan took place before the Chet HaEgel, how would Moshe Rabbeinu be authorized after the Chet HaEgel to go tell the people, make the Mishkan? Maybe God doesn't want the Mishkan anymore. Just because he told them to make the Mishkan before the Chet HaEgel, that was when he loved us. But maybe after the Chet HaEgel, when he doesn't love us anymore, well, what do you mean he gave us a second luchos? Says the Sifsei Chachamim, Rashi feels, second luchos he has to give us. We're Jews, we need Torah. But a special place of connection, maybe we lost that. And because of this question, Rashi feels, it must be first came the Chet HaEgel, and only then came the command to build the Mishkan again, because if the command to build the Mishkan preceded the Chet HaEgel, then how did Moshe Rabbeinu know that the command was still standing? That's the Shita of Rashi. And the Ramban, in Kama Makoimos, argues on Rashi. And the Ramban says, it's not true. There's no rule, Ein Muktam Amucha B'Torah. Well, imagine you handed in a composition. And the teacher said, I know what you're talking about. The ending is before the beginning, and the climax, you gave away the end before you started. You say, teacher, get with the program. Ein muktam b'uchar b'composition. Teacher say, are you nuts? What do you mean ein muktam b'uchar? Says Ramban, when you write something, there's an order. There's no such thing, ein muktam b'uchar. Al pi pshat, there has to be an order. The Ramban learns, first comes Truma, then comes Tetzaveh. There was a command to build the Mishkan, then came the Chet HaEgel, and then Moshe went through with it. The Ramban in Parshas Vayakel is bothered at least. How did Moshe Rabbeinu know that the Rebbeinu Shalom still wanted them to build a Mishkan? Says the Ramban that Moshe Rabbeinu felt that since, look at number 10, 4 lines from the end, Kivan shenisrat, this is the Ramban in the beginning of Vayakel. Kivan shenisrat lahem HaKadosh Baruch Hu, since God reconciled with them, v'nasan loy haluchos, and He gave them the luchos shniyos, and He made a new bris with them, and He said, I'm going to be with you. So He's reverting back to His original love. And Moshe Rabbeinu figured if God is making another treaty with them, and He's going back to the way things were, then that means Rebbe Shem wants them to make a Mishkan. In other words, if all bets were off, and if God didn't love us anymore, He wouldn't have given us another luchos, He wouldn't have made a new covenant with us. The fact that He gave us another pair of luchos, and He renewed the covenant, means that whatever Shechina was supposed to dwell among us, will dwell among us again. Moshe didn't have explicit confirmation from God that He still wants the Mishkan to be built. He doesn't need explicit confirmation. Moshe assumed that the Rebbeinu Shalom still wants the Mishkan. Yeah? Everyone with me? Okay. By the way, the Ramban in Parshas Tzav says the same thing. 3 lines from the end in Parshas Tzav, Parak Ches Pasuk Aleph, he says, V'hinei kol ha-parshios kesidron. All the parshios are in order. So, Mar v'Rabbaisa, you should be aware, there's a famous machlokes Rashi and the Ramban. Rashi learns the order says Ki Sisa, Truma, Tetzaveh, Vayak, V'kudei, Ein Muktam B'uchar B'Torah. And the Ramban says, no, there's chronology in the Torah. It's Truma, Tetzaveh, Ki Sisa, Vayakel, Pekudei. How did Moshe Rabbeinu know that God still wanted it? He assumed that since He reconciled with us, then everything is back on the table. By the way, the Medrash Tanchuma says explicitly like Rashi. The Medrash Tanchuma says that V'asuli Mikdash V'shachanti V'saycham. When was this pasuk said? To Moshe on Yom Kippur, after the Chet HaEgel, even though the Chet HaEgel was written before. Amar Rav Bar Shalom Ein Muktam B'uchar B'Torah. So Rashi and the Medrash Tanchuma, defended by the Sifsei Chachamim, they say it's out of order. The Ramban and the Zohar say it's in order. So let me ask you a kasha, a beautiful kasha. According to the Ramban, that the Parshas are in order, that means Parshas Tetzaveh preceded the Chet HaEgel. Who in the world was Parshas Tetzaveh written for? Kohanim? What Kohanim? There's no such thing as kahuna. We learned, the Mishnah Zvachim says, before the Chet HaEgel, the Bechoros did the Avodah. So you say maybe the big Dekuna were for the Bechoros? It doesn't say. It says, Aroin Achicha, Ulavanav. So what's going on? What's Pshat and Parshas Tetzaveh? According to the Ramban, that the Parshios are in chronological order. As an aside, I want to share with you an incredible Gemara. The Gemara in Ksubas Samach Beis Amud Beis, the Gemara says that, amazing Gemara, Reb Chia needed to find a shidduch for his son. So he found the daughter of Rabbi Yossi ben Zimra. So Rabbi Yossi ben Zimra was going to give his daughter to the son of Reb Chia. And the deal was, the shver was going to support the son of Reb Chia for 12 years. And after 12 years, then he would get married. He didn't really get a good look at the Kala yet. He agreed he would marry her at the end of, thank you so much. He agreed he would marry her at the end of 12 years. And that was the deal. The only thing is, the Gemara tells us, she passed before him. And he saw her. He said, make it 6 years. Then she passed in front of him a second time. He said, let's make the chasana now, and then I'll learn afterwards. And then he was embarrassed from his father. It sounds like a shortcoming. He couldn't resist. So his father said, don't worry. You did the right thing. You're emulating God. You're emulating your Creator. He said, really? It's good to know. So Reb Chia said, that's right. God told us, Tivi'emai v'sita'emai. Bahar nachlascha. I'm going to bring you and plant you on my holy mountain. Meaning, I want to build a Beis HaMikdash for you. So I'm going to bring you into Eretz Yisrael and build you a Beis HaMikdash when you get there. And then what happened? God couldn't resist. He said, you know what? Let's just do it already. So even though God made up, He's going to wait 40 years until He makes the Beis HaMikdash for us, or longer. But then He was with us and He saw us. Virat Sisa banu, He wanted us, and He said, let's do it right away. We'll worry about other things later. So Reb Chia told his son, you're following the Ribono Shel Olam. I know you wanted to learn, but your ahava for your kala is an emulation of the ways of Hashem. So I remember many years ago, it's got to be 18, 19 years ago, I heard from one Rosh Yeshiva, Rabbi Jacobson. He said, according to Shitas Rashi, think about what happened over here. We're saying that the Ribono Shel Olam, when He told us to make a Mishkan, why did He tell us to make a Mishkan? Because He couldn't resist the love for us. He wanted to have a home for the two of us. But according to Rashi, the command to build a Mishkan was even after the Chet HaEgel. Look at the great love the Ribono Shel Olam has for Klal Yisrael. That even after we do such a terrible sin, He still can't resist us. He loves us so much. His love, His ahava for Klal Yisrael is so intense, is so powerful, that even after the Chet HaEgel, not only did He tell us to make a Mishkan, He told it to us because He couldn't wait. It's amazing. But again, back to the ranch, the question at hand is, according to the Shita of the Ramban, that the Parshas were written Keseder. Who is Parshas Tetzaveh written for if the institution of Kahuna was not created yet? Third question. Why did the Bechoros lose the Avodah? Because they sinned at the Egel, yeah? Did every Bechor sin at the Egel? The ones from Shevet Ruvain sin, the one from Shimon sin, the one from Yehuda sin. But the Leviim from Shevet Levi didn't sin at the Egel. So if the Leviim from Shevet Levi didn't sin at the Egel, why can't those Bechoros do the Avodah? They had it, and they never lost it. So why did Hashem have to create an institution of Kahuna? And even if He wanted to give it to someone else, but at least they should have maintained it. In other words, the Bechoros from Shevet Levi, who never sinned with the Egel, they should continue to be able to do the Avodah.
What's the Erev?
Made the Egel? Apparently, a lot of Bechoros from many of the Shvatim, It sounds like the Erev Rav was instigated it, but Klal Yisrael to some extent participated. That's why the Bechoros lost it. Okay, so to answer these questions, I'm going to share with you from a very interesting sefer. There's a sefer called Igrois Urashimois of the Kilas Yaakov of the Stipler. His grandchildren put out various letters and notes of the Stipler. Some of them are on Chumash. And basically, they declare the following chakira. See, until this year, maybe we thought that before the Chet HaEgel, the Bechoros did the Avodah, and after the Chet HaEgel, the Kohanim did the Avodah. Is that really true? Maybe we don't have it right. Maybe the Kohanim always did the Avodah. And when we say the Bechoros did something before the Cheder Egel, they just did what the Leviim do today. And after the Cheder Egel, the Kohanim were swapped, the Bechoros were swapped for the Leviim. But it doesn't mean the institution of Kahuna began after the Cheder Egel. Maybe the institution of Kahuna always existed, independent of the Bechoros. It always existed and it always will exist. And it was unaffected by the Cheder Egel. The question of what the Cheder Egel did was, it swapped the Bechoros for the Leviim. So that's basically now what we're going to present and bring a number of proofs that in fact there was always Kahuna before the Cheder Egel, and the only thing that happened was whatever rights the Bechoros had before the Cheder Egel, it was swapped for the Leviim. So let me begin. Look at number 18. Remember in Parshas Vayechi, Yaakov Avinu tells Ruvain, Bechori ata, koichi v'reishis oini, yaser se'es, v'yaser az. Which literally means you had extra power and extra strength. So the Medrash Rabbah in Parsha Tzadiches at the last three lines, Ha-bechora haisa shalcha, v'ha-kahuna haisa shalcha, v'ha-malchus haisa shalcha. You had it all. You had firstborn, you had priesthood, and you had royalty. But now that you sin, says the Medrash, Nitna ha-bechora li-Yosef, Yosef's the bechor. The kahuna was given to Levi. What? The kahuna was given to Levi? This is before the Cheder Egel. Well, what does it mean the kahuna was given to Levi? It should say the kahuna was given to the Bechoros. No, the Medrash says the kahuna was already given to Levi from the times of Ruvain. By the way, the Yonasan ben Uziel, the Targum Yonasan ben Uziel, says the same thing. He says, V'al di chatias bri, is Yehavis b'cherus al Yosef, malchus Yehuda, uchahunta Levi. Another proof. By all the Shvatim, when all the Shvatim are born, yeah, everyone good tonight? Everyone happy? Everyone warm? Yeah? Okay. We're still in the week of Purim, right? So, okay. By all the Shvatim that were born, it says, by Ruvain, Vatikra Shemai Ruvain, Vatikra Shemai Shimon, Vatikra Shemai Yehuda. By Levi, it says, Kara Shemai Levi. What do you mean he called his name? Why not she? So Rashi brings a medrash that God sent Gabriel to call Levi, and to give Levi the 24 manas kahuna. And because he was accompanied by gifts, he was called Levi. So 1 second, you're telling me that from the time Levi was born, he already had kahuna? What do you mean? I thought kahuna was an institution that was created after the Cheder Egel, but before the Cheder Egel there was no kahuna. No, you see from Rashi, kahuna already predated the Cheder Egel. Another proof. You remember Yocheved and Miriam, Shifra and Pura, Vatirenam Yaldas as Lakim, Vayaslehem Batim. So Miriam was Zoicha to Bate Malchus. And who came from Yocheved? Kahuna Levia. What do you mean Kahuna Levia? They weren't supposed to be Kohanim, they were supposed to be the Bechoros. So you see, kahuna already was created from the time of Yocheved and Miriam. So you say, but no. This proof is not a good proof. Because Rashi also says Leviah was given to Miriam. And that for sure was not the institutional Leviah, that for sure was after the Cheder Egel. Because at the very least, instead of the Bechorim getting what the Kohanim got, the Bechoros got what the Leviim got. So Rashi, the fact that he throws in Leviah was also given. Rashi then maybe means Al Shem Ha'asid. Maybe Rashi doesn't mean Hashem was giving Yocheved and Miriam Leviah now. Maybe Rashi just means for the future, and maybe the same thing for kahuna. Another possible proof that the institution of kahuna always existed is, remember when Moshe Rabbeinu did not want to accept God's mission to take Klal Yisrael out of Mitzrayim. So it says Hashem got angry. He says, no, haloi Aaron achicha halevi. Aaron, your brother Levi, yadati. I know he's going to speak for you. He's going to come out to greet you. He'll be happy and his heart will be joyous. So Rashi points out, whenever it mentions anger in the Chumash, there's always a rosham. There's always somebody gets punished. And here nobody got punished. And then Rashi brings the day of Rabbi Yossi. No, even here somebody got punished. Who? Aaron achicha halevi. He was supposed to be a Levi, and you were supposed to be a Kohen. But now that you decided not to take the job, he's going to be the Kohen and you're going to be the Levi. So what do we see from here? The institution of Kahuna already existed, already from the burning bush. Yeah? And we could add, Marav Rabbi Isai, Rebbeinu Shalom says to Moshe, not like you think that Aaron's going to be jealous of your position. No, his heart is pure. That's why he's Zoicha, that he's going to wear the Choshen. What do you mean he's going to wear the Choshen? I thought Kahuna was only a result of the Chedo Egel. So we see already back then, the Kohanim were always destined to be Kohanim from the beginning.
He was talking Ruvain and Kuda.
Well, again, from Ruvain we see Ruvain was supposed to be the Kohen, and because of that it was given to Levi. But now furthermore, in Levi it could have gone to, Kahuna could have gone to Moshe and Levi to Aaron, and at this point it switched. So I think from all of this, there's some strong indications that when we say the Bechoros did the Avodah before the Chedo Egel, it doesn't mean the Kohanim didn't. The Kohanim always did the Avodah. It's just that the Bechoros had certain responsibilities, and we'll say they had the responsibilities that the Levi has today. After the Chedo Egel, God swapped the Bechoros with the Leviim, and that's what happened, by the way. By the way, on the last Maramakam on the sheet, we'll jump to it now. An indication that what we're saying is accurate is that if the Bechoros were the Kohanim before the Chedo Egel, so think about it. How was he paid the Bechoros? He swapped the Bechoros with the Leviim. That's not a swap, because the Leviim never took on the responsibility of the Bechoros if the Bechoros were the Kohanim before. To do a pidyon, you have to take whatever kedusha is on A and put it on B. But if the Bechoros did the avodah, then they're not swapping their kedusha on the Leviim. That indicates the Kohanim all along did the avodah. But some minor responsibilities that the Leviim had are being swapped with the Bechoros. Okay, so if we say like this, if we say that the institution of Kahuna always existed, and the Bechoros had certain lower level responsibilities, that would answer all of our questions. That would explain why Aaron was afraid that if he would get killed, they would be killing a Kohen and a Navi. It's before the Chedo Egel. Yeah, but there was always Kahuna even before the Chedo Egel. And that would answer, even according to the Ramban, that the Parshas are written in chronological order, Parshas Tetzaveh was still Big Day Kahuna for the Kohanim. And that would explain how the Leviim, the Bechorim who are Leviim, they can't do the Avodah after the Chedo Egel, because they couldn't even do it before the Chedo Egel. So they didn't lose anything. You're right, they didn't lose anything, but they never had the Avodah before the Chedo Egel to begin with. I do want to tell you that not everybody agrees with what we just said. There are many Mefarshim who say that before the Chedo Egel, the Kohanim were the Bechoros, and there was no separate institution of Kahuna. The Chovos HaLevavos says pretty clearly in Shar Avodas Alekim, Reish Perek Vav, he says that people who in this world follow the right path and accept upon themselves to serve Hashem properly, God will sometimes obligate them in special avodah. So, for example, the Chovos HaLevavos says, when Moshe said, Mila Hashem Elai, Vayeyasu Elav, Kol Bnei Levi, when Moshe declared, who's on our side, and Bnei Levi gathered to him, God added to them Toiva, and he chose them to be Kohanim Aaron Ubanov. The Sfarno, very interesting, the Sfarno Parshas Kisava. We know there's a concept of Vidoy Meiser, that when you bring your Meiser, you have to sort of make a declaration that you brought all your Meiser. It's called Vidoy Meiser. The question is, why is it Vidoy? What's the Vidoy? Well, you did Avera? Well, what's the Vidoy? So the Sfarno says, yes, we're confessing that because of our Averos, the Sfarno says, Husra ha'avoida meha Bechoros, the Avodah was taken away from the Bechoros, that they should have got Truma and Meiser. Amazing. The Sfarno says that really Trumas and Meiser should have gone to the Bechoros. That's a big chiddush. So here he's saying black and white that all aspects of Kahuna would have been by the Bechoros and not by the Kohanim. Or Rabbi Isai, the Marsha in Masechta Shabbos Daf Pei Tes Amud Beis, the Marsha says, very interesting that the two crowns of Nasiv and Nishma are Malchus and Kahuna. So you say, well, how would a Jew have the crown of Malchus and Kahuna? The Marsha says in the second to last line, Shematzinu HaKahuna Haya Metchila Bechoros. That we find that Kahuna was at first with the Bechoros. Amazing. V'chein HaMalchus. So, even though we started off by, we asked a number of questions, and we brought many proofs that the institution of Kahuna always existed, it's not unanimous. Many Rishonim, Chavos Havavos, the Svarna, the Marsha, they say there was no institution of Kahuna before the Chedo Egel. Kahuna was possessed by the Bechoros. By the way, the Medrash in 2 Mekayimos says this explicitly. Look in Bamidbar Rabbah, look at number 28. I'll read to you. The Medrash in Bamidbar Rabbah, Parsha Vav Ois Beis, the end of the Medrash says, Shehem Hayu Ruyim Litol HaKahuna, that the Bechorim should have taken the Kahuna. And likewise it says, Vayehi, on the day that the Yibon Shem selected the Bechorim, the Medrash says about 12 lines down, Vayehi ha-Bechorim Amru, Vay shenot la mehem HaKahuna, Sha'ad shelo yukam ha-Mishkan, Hayu Abamos v'Toros, V'avoida v'Bechoros, Shenam Yishal Nar B'nei Yisrael, Oyos v'Chein Siv. So here, originally all Klal Yisrael was supposed to be Kohanim. The way the Marsha seems to learn that is because Hashem called us B'nei Bechori Yisrael, and Kahuna belonged to the Bechorim. I understand. But in what way were we Kohanim? Because Hashem just called us Kohanim? The way the Marsha seems to explain that is it emanated from the Bechor aspect of Klal Yisrael, that we're B'nei Bechor Yisrael. Okay, Rabbi, so let's end with the following idea. The Orach Chaim HaKadosh says in a number of places something very interesting. You'll say, well, what's the nafkamina? Basically, we're trying to clarify Hakira, and we've shown that it's really a machlokes. What took place before the Ched HaEgel? Was there an institution of Kahuna, and Bechorim had certain jobs and they lost the job to Levium, or was there no such thing as Kahuna, and the institution of Kahuna was under the auspices of the Bechoros, and they lost that and it went to Kohanim and Levium? So you say, well, who cares? What was. What's the nafkamina? What took place before the Ched HaEgel? The Orach Chaim HaKadosh says in Parshas Vayechi, Perek Mem Tes Pasuk Chavches, that La'asid Lavai, again the Bechoros will do the Avodah. So look at number 30. The Orach Chaim HaKadosh says, Chfizeh, Kivan Shekavalai Shem HaBechora, Asid Hu Lamoid L'Shares La'asid Lavai. That Ruvain, once he's called Bechor, even though he didn't do the Avodah, but La'asid Lavai, he will do the Avodah again. And says Orach Chaim HaKadosh, that's the reason why Yaakov Avinu wanted to buy the Bechor from Esav. Because even though ultimately the Bechoros did not do the Avodah in the Mishkan, but since La'asid Lavai, the Bechoros will do the Avodah again, so he didn't want Esav to do the Avodah. Says Orach Chaim, even though the Avodah was given to Levium, but says Orach Chaim HaKadosh, but La'asid Lavai, so they'll both do the Avodah, because Malim B'Kodesh Ve'ein Maridin, like the Gemara says in Masechta Brachos, that when they sent Rabbi Gamliel down, and they sent Rabbi Gamliel down, they brought him back up again. They didn't take Rabbi Elazar ben Azariah's job away. Malim B'Kodesh Ve'ein Maridin. So the Bechoros will do the Avodah again, but they won't take away the Avodah from the Levium. By the way, this Orach Chaim HaKadosh is mashma that what? It's not that the Bechoros did the Kohanim's job, and then they lost it back to the Kohanim. It sounds like the Kohanim always did their job. It's that it used to be the Bechoros did a certain job, and then it was given to Levium, and Asalavi, they're both going to do it. But here's the nafkamina. Because according to the Archaim HaKadosh, that la'asad lavai, the Bechoros are going to do the avodah. What avodah are they going to do? Does that mean they're going to be like Kohanim, and they're going to do the... In other words, our Chakira will make a very big nafkamina, la'asad lavai. In other words, if the Bechoros used to do the job of the Kahuna and there was no institution of Kahuna, then la'asad lavai, the Bechoros will be like Kohanim. If the Bechoros only did a lower level job of Leviim, then la'asad lavai, the Bechoros will be like Leviim. Let's end off with the following question. So again, this Chakira that we have, what exactly did the Bechoros do before the Cheder Egel is also an afkamina l'maisa la'asad lavai, when the Bechoros again will do the avodah. Is it that they will return to the level of Kohanim, or is it only they will be like Leviim? So I think from the Archaim in Parshas Vayechi, he says clearly they'll be like the Leviim. Happens to be in Parshas Pekudei in number 31. It sounds like they're going to be like Kohanim and do the avodah in the Mishkan. Okay, be it as it may, let me ask you the following question. You know, the Gemara Masechta Sanhedrin wants to know, how do we know that there's a concept of Tchias HaMesim? Where in the Chumash is there a remes to Tchias HaMesim? And the Gemara says that there's a pasuk that says you're going to give truma to Aron HaKohen. You're going to give truma to Aron HaKohen. So Gemara asks, what do you mean you give truma to Aron HaKohen? There's no truma in the Midbar, and Aron HaKohen never made it into Eretz Yisrael. So Raya, one day Aaron's going to wake up and we're going to give him truma in Eretz Yisrael. Wait a second. What do you mean you give him truma in Eretz Yisrael? But according to Archaim HaKadosh, la'asad lavai, the Bechoros are going to do the avodah. And l'chayra, that means, so if the Bechoros are going to do the avodah, you're not going to give Aaron the truma, because again, if the Bechoros originally were the Kohanim, so la'asad lavai, they're going to be the Kohanim, so you're not going to give Aaron the truma. I mean, that's what the Sfarno said. The Sfarno said ultimately, the Sfarno said that originally the truma was given to the Bechoros. So la'asad lavai, you're not going to give Aaron the truma. So you could say a number of things. You could say either this means that Kohanim were always Kohanim and they won't lose anything when the Bechoros return. Or you could say, even if the Bechoros did have the job of the Kohanim, but the Svar, the Archaim HaKadosh is Malan Bechoros Ein Maridin, that la'asad lavai, maybe the Bechoros will do that, but the Kohanim will also. Or you could say even more Pasha, Aaron is a Bechar. So even if he won't be a Kohen la'asad lavai, he'll still get Truma because he'll be a Bechar, and la'asad lavai, if the Bechoros do the Avodah, they'll get Truma as well. So, Emertz Hashem, that's the question of the evening. The question is, what role did the Bechoros have before the Cheder Egel? Were they Kohanim, or were they just like Leviim? And you know what? We will find out the answer. Because la'asad lavai when Mashiach comes. And the Bechoros will do the Avodah. We'll see what they do. If they do the Avodah of the Kohanim, then we'll know that the Sfarno was right, and the Marshal was right, and the Chavis HaValus was right. Otherwise, if they just do the Avodah of the Leviim, then we'll know that the other tzad was true. Who's going to answer the question? Eliyahu Hanavi, a Kohen. He's going to tell us whether he might be Nogea B'davar. I don't know if Eliyahu was a Bechar also.
All right.
So we'll find out. Hopefully we should find out very soon. Thank you all for coming and bearing with us in the call.
You've just experienced another Torah class brought to you by TorahAnytime.com.